Hey, good evening. Kathy Beatty here with Divorce Support Anonymous, Friday Night Live. Glad that you joined me. I am not home this weekend, as I was not last weekend, but for the most part, I'm home. But tonight, wherever I'm at, I want to be able to come to you to just give you a taste of hope and some direction and words that might give you a little bit of peace of knowing that this process has its struggles and you're going through something very, very difficult. So I think I may be having a little struggle with the internet connection here. So we'll go ahead and hope that we get through. We will. We will. So we are going to talk tonight about the blame game. And that's something that occurs within divorce situations where people want to blame the other person. So I want to cover three things tonight, three areas about blame. And that is you blaming him or her or other people for what's going on with you. And then I want to talk about your soon to be former spouse or former spouse blaming you. And thirdly, I want to talk about children, when children hear one parent blaming the other. And that really is going to get us nowhere. And it is true with blame. So let's talk to begin with about you blaming others. So it happens. We see situations and we can often blame others. What we really need to do is be responsible first for our own actions and our own feelings and not cast the responsibility that is ours to other people. Certainly, in a marriage situation, there have been two parties who have contributed to the demise of the marriage. So it's natural for us to want to put responsibility where responsibility goes. And that can get us in a lot of trouble emotionally, relationally, and every other which way. So, what we want to do here is we want to find a support group, a safe person that we can discuss how we feel about things and how um, their responsibility and my responsibility and how all that works out. So we really need a therapist, a pastor, a support group for us to be able to articulate and process and wade through all of the emotions that we are feeling. And that is going to help us to see clearly and to determine what am I responsible for and what is he or she responsible for. Now, the trouble that a lot of people get themselves into is they want to analyze everything in the marriage too quickly. And this isn't healthy for you. Later down the road, there will be a time for your growth to understand your responsibility in the demise of the marriage, why the relationship didn't work out. You'll be in a better place to do that. But right now, we don't want to be analyzing the relationship because it's too much. You're dealing with enough right now. So if you find yourself that you are trying to blame, and that, that's a natural response. Um, we want to share the load, or we know it maybe be truthful that his or her fault for what has happened. But we want really to save our energy for ourselves and our children right now. And we don't have time to get into this blame game of casting blame to him or her. Again, we'll understand that later, but for now, in the thick of it, or if you're recently divorced, we don't want to be blaming or casting dispersions upon the other person. You need your energy for better purposes. You need your energy to get through this divorce. And don't feel the need to make sure that you fill in all the blanks for everyone on your story. So you're blaming and you're telling stories about what has happened, and you're telling all of the people to fill in all the details. You don't need to do that. The truth will get found out. What people need to know, they'll find out. But you don't need to be filling in all those details. I hope that makes sense to you, because it's just so important. The people that I see in the group who really feel that they have to blame the other person, or they have to make sure everyone knows it wasn't me. It wasn't me. Truth gets found out. And then who really matters right now? Who needs to know the truth right now? Probably not too many people. Probably not too many people. So save your energy. And don't, if you find yourself blaming the other person, just say, nope, I don't need to go there. I don't have the energy for it. That's a really good response to yourself and other people. I don't have the energy for it. I simply don't have the energy. So find out what we can control. Work more now on your healing instead of analyzing or blaming and casting dispersions on the other person. Save your energy. Okay, so that's when you're blaming others. So when others are blaming you, it happens that your spouse is going to say, it's your fault, the demise of this marriage, it's your fault, it's your responsibility, and they're going to be casting all of this upon you. I know that happens. I know it happens. I also know how painful it is. Your response really needs to be to stick to the facts in responses to that person. Oh, the heartache you can spare yourself if you will hear me right now. When he or she is blaming you, stick to the facts. Don't feel the need to straighten out the story. He or she, they're going to believe what they want to believe. Save your energy. Stick to the facts. Speak the truth. Speak the truth. And no emotional conversation with this person unless there's opportunity for you to reestablish a relationship with this person, a marriage relationship and reconciliation. Then have an emotional conversation. If you know that you are going through a divorce, do not have an emotional conversation with that person. It will save you so much heartache and headache right now. So there is an acronym called BIFF, and there's actually a book, BIFF, by Bill Eddy is the author. And he talks about responses to situations of conflict. And he states BIFF stands for be brief, be informative, be friendly, be firm. Biff. Recommend his book. It's a good book. But that keeps you out of the emotional context. It simply responds and how you need to respond when you are getting blamed for things. You don't need to straighten things out with him or her. You are in the process of a divorce where you are going through a business transaction and parenting time and schedule. You don't need to get in in-depth conversations or arguments with that person. I hope that helps. I hope you hear me, because I truly know how helpful this can be for you. Now, blaming could be you're being blamed, possibly maybe you have your entire marriage. and that it is a form of emotional abuse when someone cannot take the responsibility for themselves. And it's much easier, and it is much easier for me to blame you for something than to accept responsibility of what I have done. And that may come back, may stem all the way back from childhood, where for some reason, the dynamics of the family of origin were that that was how people reacted. Mom, dad, other siblings, you just blame the other person. You never took responsibility. That's a learned behavior. And if you've had that, well, it's pretty hard. And at this point, you don't need to straighten out your soon to be former spouse. You just need to work on you. And right now, to work on you is to work on the healing. So let me just speak briefly to the spouse blaming you to the children. This hurts, and this is very difficult to face. So, what do you do in that situation? You need to respond to your children in truth that they can handle, that's appropriate. Dad said, it's your fault that this marriage is breaking up. No, honey, it's not. This is something between your dad and I, and it's a shared responsibility. Or mom couldn't no longer tolerate daddy's actions, whatever that is. And you can have a counselor or in support group. We can work through that and with that to give you the right words to say. But you always want to speak truthfully to your children, because kids figure this out. Trust me, they figure it out. They see things, and if they don't see them right now, they will see them later. Don't be bashing your spouse if he is blaming you, he or she are blaming you for everything that's gone wrong. Simply speak directly to your children. In fact, I have apologized to my son in the past because of a blame that was put to him unfairly. So when you have blaming, just speak the truth. Speak the truth in love. Truth in love. Don't bash the other parent, and just be that consistent, soft-spoken parent who speaks the truth and doesn't have to explain all the dirty details to your children. So I just want to share with you a couple of verses we're going to end with. I kind of feel like I'm rambling tonight, but it's such an important topic, and it can really just suck the life out of you. If you're blaming him, her, or he or she are blaming you, it can just be devastating emotionally. So what you need to do is get those boundaries, like, you know what? I'm just not going there. I am focusing my energy on what I need to do to take care of my kids, to take care of me, to get through this situation. Oh, this is a great quote from whoever the Italian is here that spoke this. Playing the blame game is one of the most destructive human pastimes. When we blame others for our mistakes, we always lose, because we never grow up. We never take responsibility, and we never grow up. Let me just share with you a couple of great Bible verses to guide us. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander be put away from you, along with all malice. So that's for our own good that we do that discipline, our own discipline. Find the support group, find the therapist to really vomit out what you need to vomit, but don't be doing it to your former spouse. A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Critically important verses to help and guide you. So, simply stated, don't play the blame game. You don't have to do the dance. Even though he or she is trying to do that with you, you don't have to participate. And the only way you're going to be strong enough to do that is really to have a disciplined mind, and to also get the support that you need going through the trauma of divorce. I hope within this broadcast is just a piece of two of truth that you can hold on to help you get through this trauma of divorce more easily. Thanks for joining me. This is Kathy Beatty with Divorce Support Anonymous, guiding you through every step of divorce. Have a great weekend.